Hi, I'm George Levy, and I'm at the North American Bitcoin Conference. And today, I am speaking with generative artist Claudio Castillo. Claudio, great speaking with you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on your show.
I'm actually, one of the things I have to say is that, first of all, this is a very impressive piece. I actually saw some of your examples. It's an interactive piece. I'm going to get into all that. But the first thing I want to ask you is, tell me about generative art.
Okay. So generative art is basically art that never repeats. It's a fleeting image that you will never see again. It's a one-time only experience. I thought I invented generative art. Of course I didn't. Turns out that it has a history in the past. Marcel Duchamp has a piece called Three Stoppages where he would drop strings and let gravity control the way the string would move. That is generative art. But the best way to understand generative art is something like a flame, which is basically the same thing, but it's never the same thing, or like a river, or like a wave. It's a generative process. It's more of a process than anything else.
Let me ask you a question. So, is this a generative art piece?
Yes. Everything. Yeah.
Can you explain to me, because I'm looking at it, it's a beautiful piece, and then the question is, okay, how is it generative?
Okay, it's generative because each rectangle has 100 million possibilities of showing the same thing again. So it's basically hundreds of millions of years before it could possibly repeat. Basically, it has so many variables, so much, the input is so big that it will be impossible to replicate. In this case, there's 12. Each one has 100 fascist posters, 100 communist posters, and 100 wipes. So it's a combination of all those that make it generative and that will make it a unique viewing and a unique print, a unique video. Every time you see it is different. And it's also, this particular piece is also a clock, so it's keeping track of time. There's 12 squares, one per hour. It's now 1:59. You're about to see what happens at 2 o'clock, so it's kind of interesting. Basically, it's doing two opposite things. The paradox of keeping time, an accurate time, and doing random regeneration, never repeating, chaotic creation, basically. Here we go. It's 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock, there's 2 bullets. At 5 o'clock, there's 5 bullets.
Wow.
At 9, there's 9 bullets. So the first minute of every hour, there's this animation. The bullets appear in a random fashion. Each time is a different place. So there's this piece has to do with politics, obviously, and it's right wing, left wing, and the message is never ending. And every hour there's a bloodbath, basically.
Wow.
And so now you'll see that the first minute of every hour shows you the whole database of images. So you'll see the 100 posters from each side, and you will see some blood here in this case. There's basically the result of propaganda and what happens on a timely basis. And that's it. Basically, this is two things that are opposite happening at the same time. Timekeeping and random regeneration.
Wow. So the key thing I would say, well, it was perfect timing that we actually got it to the point where we could actually do it. Now, one thing that I found really, really interesting is actually you were talking about this piece a little earlier, and the piece actually, I think it has like an interactive element, like it senses you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, all these pieces are interactive. They have touch capabilities, and I also use the camera as a sensor to trigger different events. So the touch capabilities, for example, you can touch on any one of these posters, and you can go back in time. And you see what's going to happen in the future. Okay? That's the touch part. And the sensor part is when you walk in front of it, the camera acts as a sensor and other additional animations occur. In this case, it's smoke coming out. You see there's very faint fog effects. And then basically you can see here, in this piece, for example, you see Hitler and Stalin, and one is slowly changing into the other one. So it's right wing, left wing, left wing forever. And the future hours, which are right now it's 2 o'clock, so the 2 o'clock one is writing itself. It takes an hour for the poster to come down, and you can tell because it's the black and white one is the actual hour of the moment. So this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. The future hours, you see more triggering of things. The future hours are moving faster, and there's noticeable the change. You can actually see the change, whereas the past hours are moving slower, and you cannot see the change.
Wow. That's all. It's incredible how much work goes into this, the intentional messaging behind it. Let me ask you a question. So we're at the North America Bitcoin Conference, and automatically the first thing, by the way, we are at the Bit Basel exhibit at the North American Bitcoin Conference. So tell me a bit about your foray into NFTs, because you're also in the NFT space.
Yes. Yeah, the NFT space, that's why I'm here. I created some NFTs that are basically videos or still images of the generative piece. The generative pieces are 4.5 gigabytes, so it's not feasible to put that on the blockchain. And so a lot of it is off-chain. The media essentially has to be off-chain. And the NFTs interest me a lot because of certification issues and, provenance. The art world is rife with, rip-offs
Fraud
and fraud.
yeah.
The worst of the worst. So I see NFTs as a way to protect against that. The other stuff that it can do is also great. But essentially, I have made it so that you can create an NFT, because since you can touch it, you can stop the process. So you basically compose the image that you want. And then when you're happy with the composition, you hit a key, it creates the NFT, it stores that image of that moment on the hard drive. It gives you an email, and then you send that email. And that is the still image NFT.
Got it.
I'm also doing a software NFT, which obviously generative art is my work is basically software, and the executable is what's going to be in the blockchain. So the media will be off-chain and the executable on the chain, and it will serve as a certificate.
That's fantastic and very visionary. Claudio, if people want to get to know more about your work, how can they find out about you?
ClaudioCastillo.com is my website, and everything's there. That's all I can say.
Excellent, Claudio. So very excited about the work you're doing, and I wish you the very best on the event.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something in the process. I bring you brand new videos every single week, so make sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm George Levy. We're changing the world, one blockchain at a time. See you next time.